Elon Musk, he's the new first buddy, as people are calling him, and he's part of the broligarchy. You've been pretty scathing of Mr. Musk. I think you said he's a truly evil guy, a very bad guy. I made it my personal thing to take this guy down before because he put money in. I was prepared to tolerate it. I'm not prepared to tolerate it anymore. I will have Elon Musk run out of here by Inauguration Day. He won't have full access to the White House. He'll be like any other person. Well, he's not been kicked out yet from the circle. Do you still believe what you said?
In this clip from Piers Morgan Uncensored, Steve Bannon goes on to Piers Morgan Uncensored, where he gives his unfiltered take on Elon Musk in terms of his power, his influence, and whether he's truly on Trump's side. And you guys might be surprised, his view on Musk is way more complicated than you might think. So let's just get into this clip where, of course, I'll be giving you my unfiltered take on what he says. Be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments as we go through it. Let's get into it.
It doesn't have full access to the White House. They're
That's
across
true.
the street.
No, that's true, yeah.
But I want to give some depth to this for the audience, because there's a couple things. Number one, the enemy, my enemy is my friend. Elon, I have been Elon's biggest promoter, even more than even President Trump, on three big elements I think will directly relate to your audience. Number one, he backed our play early on. This before I went to prison. This campaign came down to two decisions, which you would appreciate, Piers. One was what we called the MAGA base plus. It was MAGA plus low information, low propensity voters that have to be dug out in a very expensive kind of ground game, plus what I call the MAHA movement, the Make America Healthy Again, kind of the Bobby Kennedy, these moms, suburban moms of Moms for Liberty, American Moms, that crowd. Versus, as you know, Trump always has around him, people want him to moderate. People want him to be nicer. People want to be kinder. And that was people that wanted to go after the mythical suburban mom, for Trump to tone it down. Elon came in and with his engineering mind, he backed our play. In fact, he wrote $250 million worth of checks, which I know England, there's not a lot of money in elections. In the United States, there is, but nothing like this. When you talk about billionaires like the Adelsons putting in $100, $200 million, that's over a 4-year cycle. This was $250 million put at the point of attack on the grassroots to basically get these low propensity voters, get people out. He backed our play. Then when he went around President Trump, every time you see him jumping around the stage, he's talking about canvassing, get out the vote, registering voters, that kind of core stuff of grassroots that allows you to win. So number one, he deserves a big, hat tip. And I've said all along, for what he did in the campaign, he's going to get a seat at the table, just not the head of the table. And that table shouldn't be in the cabinet room. Number two was Doge. I'm kind of the author of the deconstruction of the administrative stage. You remember back to that CPAC speech years ago, he actually brought an element that can help energize the system, that engineering brain plus money research. So Doge is quite important to what we want to accomplish in taking the deep state and the administrative state down. Number three, I said, look, I've been kind of the pioneer of trying to knit together this populist nationalist movement throughout Europe. And, Nigel says, hey, if it hadn't been for Breitbart London and Bannon, we'd never gotten Brexit done. We've backed Tommy Robinson and all these guys for years and years and years. Elon comes with the two tactical nuclear weapons of modern politics: unlimited money, a guy that can write $250 million check and not affect his lifestyle, and the tactical weapon of a massive social media platform that he can promote who he wants to promote and crush who he wants to crush. And I've said,
to be honest, Steve Bannon makes an excellent point here. He just basically laid out the exact reason why everyone hates or fears Trump, and also the same reason why everyone wants him on their side. It's the fact that he controls the two most powerful tools in modern politics: money and media. Musk can drop $250 million into an election without blinking. That's not just some random influence, that's kingmaker status. Most billionaires have to kiss the ring of the establishment to get their money's worth in politics. They fund both sides, hedge their bets, and try to stay behind the curtain. But Musk, he's too rich to care. He doesn't need politicians. Politicians need him. And that's why both the left and the right are constantly trying to either win him over or completely destroy him. And the second weapon, of course, which arguably might be more important than money, a massive social media platform. This is where the real power shift happens, because before Musk bought Twitter, the government had full control. They could silence political enemies, boost their allies, and pretend it was all just the algorithm. Now, The leash is gone. Musk threw a grenade into the censorship regime and they still haven't recovered. He has the power to shift the entire weight of an election. And if he's not on your side, of course you're going to hate him, you're going to want to take him down. And if he's on your side, then of course you're not going to do anything to go against him. And that's why Bannon sees him as a nuclear force in politics. I mean, you can also just look at how Trump used Twitter in 2016. He bypassed the mainstream media, went direct to the people, and changed the game. I mean, the establishment is used to owning every tool of influence. They've had the media, big tech, unlimited corporate cash all working together for years. And Musk disrupted that completely. Their monopoly on speech and power has been terminated. That is one major point, and honestly one that I completely agree with when Steve Bannon mentioned it. Let me know in the comments if you agree with this, but let's continue with this clip and see the other points.
There's no centrist government in all of the continent that could withstand this guy getting in back of it and having a full play. So on those three, I'm fully supported. Now, I'm totally against kind of his concept of oligarch. He's a globalist. He's a techno-feudalist. We've got to cure him of those things. And once we do, we'll be fine.
But you're not painting a picture of Mr. Evil.
Well, he's in many regards, some of the things that the oligarchs, particularly when you talk about the oligarchs, they don't believe really in this. If you look at the spectrum of kind of the debates we have, whether it's progressive left or the right, you're on a spectrum of kind of sovereignty, and some people may be more globalist, some people more nationalists. In the United States, we've allowed an apartheid state to be formed in Silicon Valley. And the progressive Democrats are the ones that did this. They made a pact years ago, when at the same time they made a pact with Wall Street to bail out our financial institutions after 2008 on the back of American taxpayers. They also made a pact with Silicon Valley to really let them become a group of oligarchs and not to have to. They didn't break up the companies. They didn't set the Justice Department on them. They let them create an apartheid state. They didn't do anything on pricing. These guys have now become what I call techno-feudalist, not really on the spectrum when you have a debate in a democracy or in a constitutional republic. In that regard, they're quite evil. In addition, he's the leader of what is called the transhumanist movement. This transhumanist movement, this kind of dark underpinnings of this tech revolution, and that is the convergence of these technologies, particularly artificial intelligence and CRISPR, and this really to enhance Homo sapiens. And Elon with Neuralink, which will chip your brain, is at the forefront of that. So in that regard, it's quite dark and it's quite evil. And the populist nationalists of this country are kind of binding together to make sure, with the MAHA movement, with the Make America Healthy Again, to make sure that we stop it.
So, I mean, if he is evil in the way you're now characterizing, should he be at the right hand of the President of the United States? I mean, that's what many people are asking. He's an unelected evil presence.
Well, he's not a co-president. Look, he has influence. He doesn't have a lot of power. Over the weekend, he's trying to do $2 trillion in cuts or $1 trillion in cuts. He's kind of here and there. He did help take down USAID, which is one of the things we fought for. It's kind of a cutout for the CIA and for MI6. So it's one of the things we fought for. So he does good work in the time. But remember, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I don't have to be in love with every person I'm fighting with in a trench, right? As long as they fix bayonets, the top thing. And we're going to have huge disagreements. But right now, we have an apparatus we have to take down, the administrative state, the deep state, plus the lords of easy money on Wall Street. We got a long fight and a tough fight ahead of us.
The line he just said, where he said, I don't have to be in love with every person I'm fighting with in a trench, is a great analogy. And in my eyes, that sort of translates to him saying, Musk might be sketchy, but he's useful right now. And honestly, that's just how politics works. No one in this game is really looking for best friends. They're looking for allies who can help them win. The same Democrats who loved Musk when he was making electric cars and pushing green energy turned on him overnight the second he bought Twitter and started letting conservatives talk again. Because it was never about morals. It was about control. And of course, Bannon gets that. That's why he's saying, I don't need to love the guy, I just need him to fight the right battles. It's about playing the long game and using whatever tools are available, even if those tools aren't exactly what you'd prefer. I I mean, look, this is a bigger pattern in history than it ever is right now. Think about World War II. The US absolutely hated Stalin, but they allied with him to defeat Hitler. Then, as soon as the war ended, boom, Cold War. The alliance was never about friendship, it was about expendence. The same thing happened when Reagan teamed up with Mujahideen to fight the Soviets in Afghanistan. It wasn't because Reagan loved those guys, it was because they served a purpose at the time. And right now, Musk serves a purpose. He's breaking up big tech's stranglehold on speech, funding populist movements, and forcing conversations that the establishment wants to suppress. I think we all know that's too valuable to throw away, even if we don't trust Musk completely. However, I would love to ask this one question. Of course, again, you guys can let me know down in the comments what you think. What happens after Musk is no longer useful? What happens if he shifts back towards the globalists? Because Musk is not some die-hard conservative, he's a wild card. One day he's exposing government censorship, the next he's talking about Neuralink brain implants and universal basic income. The guy is kind of all over the place. That's why this alliance is so fragile. Right now, Musk is helping the right because it aligns with his personal interests in terms of free speech, business freedom, reducing government regulation, etc. But the moment that changes, the moment he decides he has more to gain from the globalists than from the populists, Bannon will turn on him instantly. And Musk knows this too, he's not stupid. So who knows what the unforeseeable future may hold, because if Musk ever flips sides again, the same conservatives who are cheering him on today might find themselves in his crosshairs tomorrow. Of course, that's a topic for when it happens, in which, of course, I'll cover it with my unfiltered take. As always, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. If you agree or disagree with a lot of the points I made, a lot of the points that Bannon made, and generally this entire clip, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Be sure to give us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.